Look at all that money, yeah, the money that they spend. Take another look now and take some time for hemp. Don't cut trees for paper, cause it hurts the environment. Stop deforestation, yeah, it's time for hemp. Whoa, an acre of hemp makes 20 barrels of oil. No need for pesticides to poison all our soil. People got no food, they got no clothes, they got no rest. Well, right now it's time for hemp.
Thank you for taking Time for Hemp. I'm your host, Casper Leitch. You are listening to Time for Hemp all around the world on Tumblr, SoundCloud, iTunes, iHeartRadio. Anywhere sound is found on the internet. We are found around the internet trying to end prohibition. On the program today, we have what I consider to be the backbone of our lobby industry, Howard Wooldirdge. He works diligently in the confines of the Washington area trying to change the minds of senators and congressmen. And we also have on the program one of my good friends as well, Dean Becker, who's written a great book that everybody needs to get a copy of. And we're going to be talking about what we think is going to be happening with the American cannabis movement. Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning, Casper.
Good morning.
And Howard, everybody's always interested in what is going to be happening there in Washington, D.C. I see occasionally we got senators and congressmen who are working on legislation and bills to pass through their legislative bodies that might make a difference. And then we hear about this guy named Sessions, who's supposed to be the Attorney General, I think. And then there's this TV star who's doing a reality show in the White House that seems to have a final say-so in a lot of things. So I thought perhaps you might be able to enlighten our listening audience as to what might be coming down the pike.
Well, let me start with some cheerful news. Had a strategy session with the other major players, the other three guys who do this thing full time, pulled the marijuana prohibition wagon here in D.C. And we believe that the intelligence we've gathered in the first couple months of the new Congress, that technically in the House, we now have the 218 votes necessary to end the 1937 law. Trouble is, now that's the cheerful news. So there's more and more Republicans going 10th Amendment, states' rights, a more libertarian bent, especially in this one. We have at least two voices in the president's cabinet, former Congressman Zinke of Montana and former Governor of Texas, Rick Perry, now both Secretaries of the Interior and Energy, respectively, are total 10th Amendment guys on marijuana. I had a good chat with the former Congressman Zinke in December, and he said he's foursquare in favor of it. We also have a person who's heading the budget, the OMB, Office of Management and Budget, very powerful position in D.C. to write the budget and where the money goes. Former Congressman Mulvaney from South Carolina, again, another strong 10th Amendment guy who always voted our way to overturn the 37 law. That being said, the not-so-cheerful news is that leadership continues to block any vote on the bill, which we're working on this year. The flagship bill to end the 37 law is H.R. 975, put out by Republican Congressman Rohrabacher. Leadership, as always, will never allow a vote on this. So what we're going to do is figure out strategies. We already have some ideas on how to force a vote in the House to overturn the 37 law. Of course, the not happy news is Jeff Sessions. This guy is, we all know who Jeff Sessions is. I'm sure everybody in your audience does. The bottom line is the president can still jerk his chain and say, go after heroin, go after illegals, help build the wall, do something important versus bother the good folks who are running stores in Colorado and elsewhere. And the other good news is for myself professionally is I now have a person inside the White House, one of the senior advisors, is a person I've known for many years. I had a 5-minute talk with him recently, and told them 5 minutes worth of reasons the president should not go after marijuana stores. The biggest thing that we've kind of decided mostly that the emphasis should be on, if you go after stores, you're going to destroy tens of thousands of good-paying jobs in those stores in Colorado, Washington, and elsewhere. And the president is a jobs guy, so just leave him alone. Your base cares about the heroin problem. Another 38,000 or so died last year, so go after that. And anyway, it was very gratifying to me to have 5 minutes with a presidential advisor, and we'll see what happens.
And Dean, I know you've got a couple of questions, and I thought I'd give you the opportunity to throw them into Howard's lap.
Well, I want to just say this, that it's been quite a month here in Houston. Howard is a former Texan. He knows how difficult it's been here to make any changes, and we still haven't made any real changes at the state level, but at the county level, Harris County, Houston, Texas, 4.3 million people. Our DA, as of March 1st this year, decided she's no longer going to call for the arrest or jailing of anybody in possession of 4 ounces of cannabis or less. They will get a ticket. They'll be compelled to take a 4-hour class on how to not be stupid out on the roads, I suppose, and pay $150 fine or fee, I guess it is, for the class. And once they've done that, their record disappears, the pot disappears, there was no arrest record, nothing's filed with the DA. They go on their way. They're free to do it again if they're that stupid. And that's going to mean that 10 to 12,000 stupid kids will not be arrested in Houston every year. The city's going to save $26 million. They're going to have 1.2 million police man-hours that they can now devote to rapists and murderers and burglars. And the city's going to be a whole lot safer. Our police chief, our sheriff, our mayor, the constables, hell, a group of preachers all stood behind the DA when she presented this. Now, there's been objections, of course, from our vice governor and some other district attorneys saying she's overstepped her bounds. But I think it's one of the best things that's happened in Texas, maybe in many, many years. And I guess what I'm saying is I worked with the DA, the sheriff, the police chief. I interviewed them all late last year. With my little stair-step questions, I got them all to agree that drug war is a miserable failure and we have no business arresting so many people for cannabis. So Howard's working at the national level. I'm working at a very local level, but we're both making progress.
Well, that's fantastic, Dean. I wish we could do that in every state, to say the least.
Well, and I think it's really just boils down to, given the opportunity to ask those little stair-step questions. If A is true, then B must be true. If B is true, then C is true. And you can just escalate it because there is no defense to this drug war. It has no nexus with reality. It's all based on fabrications and fairy tales put forward 100 years ago by moralists, profiteers, and charlatans. And more people, are even elected officials, are beginning to realize that and work against that rhetoric.
Dean can take a bow and some serious credit for what's happening in Harris County, Houston, Texas. And this is what we need all over the country. It's like we all know last year, 2016, that Columbus passed, Ohio passed, and the governor signed a modest, full medical marijuana bill. And it's guys like Rob Ryan from Ohio that have who do put the shoe leather on the floor of the Capitol, who go around and convince these people that we need a medical marijuana program. So we just need more guys out there like Dean, like Rob Ryan, and others who work so hard at local issues, like a Jody James in Florida, that kind of stuff. So yeah, you are an individual can make a significant difference, and we see that now every year in this movement to overturn the 37 law and bring sanity back to our drug laws.
Well, I'd like to throw this in. It was a couple of weeks before March 1st. DA Kim Ogg had a major conference down there at the criminal courthouse, and again, she had the mayor, police chief, sheriff, all these people behind her. when she presented this plan. When it was over, I walked up to her. Kim, want to shake your hand, want to congratulate you. She shook my hand, leaned in, and said, Dean, you were the trailblazer. You made this day possible. And my heart has been swollen ever since.
You deserve it.
And the whole point of it is that, again, it comes back to, there are these people, the diehard stalwarts, the old folks mostly, who proclaim marijuana leads to hard drugs, marijuana addicting, all of this crap. And the truth be told, that given the opportunity in an open venue of some kind, they will walk away from those pronouncements. They know it's untrue, unsupportable. They do it in an environment where no one can ask the questions, where no one can refute what they're saying. But even the most diehard of these drug warriors know the end of this prohibition is approaching. And many of the younger ones are working to get on the right side of this issue, because they know in a few years we're going to look back at this and see the drug warriors as heathens, as monsters, who locked up near 50 million of their fellow citizens for having little bits of plant products in their pocket.
Well, that's quite an inspiration, to say the least. You know, every activist who's listening will get some hope from hearing that maybe in their neck of the woods that can also be possible.
Well, and it is. Be fortified. Educate yourself. Be ready to refute their talking points that were first offered up 100 years ago. You know, they know they're on the run. Make them run faster.
This is a situation where don't expect results in the first year, second year, third year. Dean's been at this for about as long as me. That's 20 years, and it's taken that long to get into the winner's circle. But we are. So get out there, get on the track, and eventually you can bring your city, your county, your state, your country into the winner's circle. It just takes a lot of work and a lot of support.
Exactly right, Howard.
Now, in Washington, Howard, what seems to be dragging the feet there if everything seems to be moving in all the other states? You know, we've got, 26 states now? We got hemp legislation. What seems to be the actual clog? Is it lobbyists who are paying politicians to remain ignorant and stupid and fight against it? Or is this just a genuine belief?
Well, it's a combination of witch's brew, if you will. We've got, of course, the overhanging Puritan ethic. It's not good to get high on anything. You've got so the religious angle, the moral angles out there. But overriding everything, of course, is the money. My biggest opponents continue to be a big pharma who don't want to compete with God's green medicine in the marketplace because they are losing. There's been hearings where the government now has officially taken notice that when citizens have a choice between God's green medicine and store-bought pills for free out of Medicare, citizens are choosing God's medicine because it's more effective, less side effects, etc. And the pharmaceutical industries know chapter and verse. They're losing market share. So they fight me every day in the halls of Congress just to keep their profits up. The private prisons are a serious and growing phenomenon in America, and they want more people in jail, not less, because that's their business model. And, of course, last and certainly not least, law enforcement is addicted to the money from both wages and civil asset forfeiture. They fight me hardest than anybody, and that's obviously a real problem. They have political power, political influence. And also, don't ever forget the three hardest words for anybody to say in this society is, I was wrong. And politicians are infamous for throwing their mother under the bus many times before they admit they made a mistake on policy. So ego is another big factor in Congress, where these guys who are senators and congressmen think they're sitting next to the right hand of God, and they must be perfect because that's why they're a U.S. senator. So therefore, they couldn't possibly be wrong for the last 30, 40 years on marijuana policy. So that's another factor. But the will of the people, more of these young people, say young, 40 years old, 45 years old, being voted in, and they're much more trending to limited intrusion of the government into your personal business and limited intrusion of the federal government into state affairs. So that's why we're in the process of winning, and that's why I'm not retiring this year, probably not next year, because we're so close to winning at the federal level.
Well, and that brings me to a question to Dean. Dean, Howard
if I could
mentioned
throw
that
in a point here. Again, I've been doing local, been working with Harris County, Houston for, quite some time. I'm trying to move up to the state level. It's a much bigger fish to fry. But one of the main areas of concern I have at the local level, at the Harris County level, is the bail bondsman situation. We have a situation where they're challenging the constitutionality, the legality of our bail bond system here in Texas. And many people who get arrested for minor amounts of drugs, little bits of weed, used to spend up to 6 months waiting to go to trial. That was rare that would happen. But it was part of the cost, the $26 million that we're going to be able to save by not making those arrests. But the bail bondsmen are still trying to cling to that requirement that people have to bail out on all of these minor charges. And many folks are homeless, destitute, have no money with which to get themselves out. And whether it's for shoplifting or hitchhiking or whatever, they wind up spending months in our jails waiting to go to trial on these minor charges because the bail bondsmen control the elected officials. Sure.
And how are the police handling the loss of income for forfeitures? They must be losing some money there as well.
Oh, yeah. Our neighbors, New Mexico was the first state a couple of years ago. Republican governor signed the legislation to do away with civil asset forfeiture completely. None, zero. There's still criminal asset forfeiture, but they stopped the police practice of highway robbery. The police took in $5.1 billion last year.
Wow.
And so this is a large revenue stream for a lot of departments. And so they are not going quietly. They are fighting all of this tooth and nail. The good news is it's exposing my profession, law enforcement, that they truly are in it for the money. And it's undeniable. And we see that every day as it plays out in the state capitals, where the police fight the changes to civil asset forfeiture because it's a huge pile of money for their slush fund. So, like I say, we've had lots of good news here in the past couple of years, especially starting with Colorado in 2012, and it continues. But the forces against us are not giving an inch. They are throwing money and pressure into the breach to try to stop or prolong as much as possible their revenues, their monies.
Well, with that said, we need to take a break and listen to some music about how fantastic cannabis is. Dean has things to do and has to get on with his day. Dean, you want to give a shout-out for your book?
I do, Casper. I appreciate that. Yeah, folks, I've written a book to end the war on drugs. I had a special policymakers edition. We took 600 copies to Washington, D.C. We gave a copy to then-President Obama, his cabinet, every senator, every U.S. congressman, every Supreme Court justice, and that day we mailed 50 copies to every governor of these United States. It features the words of about 105 experts who've been on my show, including Mr. Howard Wooldirdge, our current guest, but it also features folks like Grover Norquist, scientists like Donald Tashkin of the National Institute on Drug Abuse, and many others. It's endorsed by the James A. Baker III Institute and by Law Enforcement Action Partnership, which the name has been changed to. You can get it on Amazon. It's To End the War on Drugs by yours truly, Dean Becker. Casper, I appreciate this opportunity to pitch the book, if you will. But the fact of the matter is, if you learn what's in that book, it'll make you a better activist. It'll allow you to challenge the logic of these weasel drug warriors. I thank you, sir.
And thank you. And we look forward to having you back on the program as a guest very soon in our near future. After this tune, we'll be right back here at Time for Hemp.
It's fighting in big cities, taking out the innocent and the guilty. They no longer need to blend into the trees. They're hiding in the street. Oh my God, trying to desensitize me on the TV with their vision of brutality. Well, trying to shallow my conscience with defensive statements. Oh, no camouflage, they say no camouflage, they say no camouflage. No camouflage, they say no camouflage, no camouflage, no camouflage. Give me the green camouflage for my peace march. Oi, green camouflage will be unarmed. How you mean illegal? Give me the green camouflage for my peace march. We're a peaceful people. Green camouflage will be unarmed. Hey. Camouflage in a fashion, they must have thought the war was over for America. Oh, I tell them they don't need the green no more. Searching for the enemy door to door. I will make camouflage in Jamaica. Make me feel like a soldier in your army. In Barbados, most peaceful people I know still can open embargo. No camouflage, they say no camouflage, they say no camouflage. No camouflage, no camouflage, they say no camouflage, no camouflage. Wow, give me the green camouflage for my peace march. Whoa, yeah, green camouflage will be unarmed. How can a shirt be illegal? Give me the green camouflage for my peace march. How come green camouflage so illegal? Camouflage, give me the green. Camo, give me the green. Camouflage, no pants, no shirt, no dress, no skirt, no shoe, no sock, no bag, no rag. Give me the green. Camo, give me the green. Hey, give me the green. How come? Give me the green. You don't fight your battle on the battlefield, soldier. Give me the green.
Thank you for taking time for Hemp. I'm your host, Casper Leitch. We got an eye on Washington, D.C. today. There seems to be a lot of activity that might be changing the future of the cannabis movement here and around the world. And my guest today is Howard Wooldirdge. And Howard, there's a lot of people who seem to think that had Donald Trump not been elected and had he not appointed Sessions as the Attorney General, we wouldn't be going down this rabbit hole. Things wouldn't be this bad now. But I keep trying to remind them that had it not been President Trump, it would have been President Clinton, and there's a good chance we'd still be right exactly where we're at. Who's right, who's wrong?
Well, the folks who would have preferred Hillary Clinton for president are correct in the sense that she would not have appointed Jeff Sessions as the Attorney General, and probably, almost certainly, she would have continued the Obama policy of hands-off Colorado and the other Colorados of the country, letting them choose their own state laws when in regards to medical or recreational marijuana. So that is a difference. Now, I believe, based on my information here inside the Beltway, that Trump will sign the bill that we are working on, and Hillary would have signed it only because it was politically expedient. As you know, Casper, she's no friend of ending the war on drugs. She's a big supporter, a big fan of the war on drugs. But for political reasons, I feel strongly she would have signed the bill because her base would have exploded if she had done anything else besides that. But it's all spilt milk now. We got to deal with Sessions. We got to deal with Trump. And as I said I still have medium confidence that the president will tell Sessions to go after heroin and the illegals and such as that versus go after green plants and people who sell it legally out of stores.
Cool. Now, are there like two different tracks going? Is there one going through the Senate and one going through the Congress right now?
Well, there's several bills in Congress, and let me give you an example of the cheerful news of changes. A new Republican, hold the phone, Republican from Virginia, the Commonwealth of Virginia, introduced a bill recently, a guy named Garrett, to take marijuana out of the schedule completely, which would mean basically put it in the same place as the federal government does alcohol and tobacco, and just deschedule it completely. So that's just a sign that there's movement in the Congress to end this thing. The trouble is the forces of darkness, if you will, the forces of money, the same thing, are fighting this with everything they've got. They're bringing out every battleship, every political pressure they can mount to stop the Congress from ending this 1937 marijuana law because it involves tens of billions of dollars. And so in the sandbox I play in every day, billions of dollars speaks louder than the voices of tens of millions of your audience out there. Sadly.
Well, and Carl Olson, I think, said it right, and there's been a handful of police officers and former police officers from LEAP who have been a guest on the show. They've, I think, said it right, is when you are a member of the police force or if you are an acting member of Congress or the Senate, you can't cherry-pick the laws that you enforce. You are required to enforce all the laws. And if you don't like the laws pertaining to the cannabis plant, then you need to get active in changing them. Is that correct?
Exactly so. Exactly so. And the only caveat to that is, like when I was a police officer near Lansing, Michigan, back in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, I had discretion for minor misdemeanors, and simple possession of marijuana, that's anything less than 2 ounces, was considered a discretionary crime on my part. So there's a couple hundred people out there that would otherwise have gotten a criminal record, which would ruin their chances for employment and credit and housing, etc. Except that when I saw the baggie of marijuana in their glove box, I said, "Give me that." I tossed it into the wind, threw it away. No record, no nothing. Gave them a ticket for running a red light, and they lived, let's say, happily ever after because this street cop, did not used his discretion and just simply threw the marijuana away. Of course, tens of millions of others were not so lucky. They got stopped by Joe Bad Cop, and they got a ticket, and their life has been affected ever since. But that's why LEAP, the Law Enforcement Against Prohibition, now Law Enforcement Action Partnership, is dedicated to changing these laws so my profession can chase real bad guys, the pedophiles, the drunk drivers, versus going after Willie Nelson and his friends.
Well, now, so then how does one get angry, though, at the Congress or the Senate or someone like Sessions, who's hired by the public to enforce the law, when they go and enforce the law? I mean, how do you generate anger towards that man? I mean, is it his fault that he does it?
In a sense, Attorney General Sessions is a product of his culture, of coming from Alabama, coming from a conservative background, and a person who simply, that's part of that's part of the reason he is the way he is. But the other part is, as he kind of said the other day about the violence and is God's medicine effective? He says, well, no, it's not. Although science may show me wrong. The man does not read the science. He does not open up his mind. So as an adult, he should have opened up his mind and said, oh, here's a whole bunch of new facts. I should change my outlook and my opinion. He's never done that. He's never given the issue a critical thinking, and he's never done any reading of the scientific reported and published results of study after study showing the good, the bad, and the ugly of God's green plant. So therefore, his thoughts are stuck in when he was born 70-odd years ago, and that was just in a place where everything other than alcohol was demonized.
Well, now that's a reason to be angry with the person. There you go.
Sure. Oh yeah. I'm not. Please don't take me wrong. I'm not making excuses for Sessions. I was raised for 7 years in Albany, Georgia, right across the river from Alabama. So I've got a bit of an idea how he was raised. It's just like for me and millions of others, they opened up their eyes, they read the science, and they said, "Oh, this isn't as bad as heroin," and moved on from there. Whereas Jeff Sessions is stuck in 1949.
Well, I guess I never want to encourage people to get angry at someone just doing their job, right? Like a police officer, they're just doing their job. You can't get angry at the police officer who is enforcing the law. And you can't get angry at the judge whose hands are tied sometimes with these mandatory minimums, right? You get what you need to get angry totally at is the law and change it.
Be angry at your governor. Be angry at your state senator. But don't be angry at the cop who gives you a ticket because the speed limit's 70 and you're doing 80.
Right.
Or if it was 55 and you were doing 70. I mean, I enforced 55 all my police career. Stupid law. But, folks, I didn't make the law. I simply enforced it. But in Jeff Sessions in particular, he's like many in Congress that absolutely refuse to crack a book or a report that shows the relative harm, the relative danger of marijuana versus anything else. And they just cling to their beliefs from 1949 that this is reefer madness, this is the devil's weed, and this is what leads to insanity, this is what leads to heroin, the gateway. I mean, all this stuff, they simply have not opened up their mind to new information, and shame on them. Whether it's Jeff Sessions or Senator Hatch of Utah, Pete Sessions of Dallas, Texas, there's a whole bunch of them in Congress. There's a couple hundred in Congress that just will not read the science.
Wow. That is very frustrating because there is so much out there. That's the other aspect of this plant is that it really is hard to figure out all the good things it can do when all the good research has been outlawed.
Well, the good news is it's my feeling, based on all my travels across America on the horse and going out to California in 2010 and Colorado in 2012 to work the street corners for a couple of months to pass the bills. Went to Michigan in 2008 for the medical, that people under 40, probably your audience, understands this quite well, that God's green plant has so many uses. It's just, however, either they don't vote, which is a problem, or they don't call their senator or congressman to tell them, you better vote this way or I'll vote against you. I'll find somebody who does feel this way about God's green plant. You can't just whine about it and then be surprised when the prohibition crowd gets reelected. You've got to work at this or it's not going to get done. And that's why I always tell people, please write your senators, your congressmen and say, apply the 10th Amendment, states' rights to the issue of marijuana. Otherwise, my job is just that much harder. I can't do it alone.
Well, I've often heard that's how Prohibition ended, was through the act of states' rights, and so many different states were changing their laws that it had to come from the bottom up, and that's how it usually works in Washington. It comes from the bottom up.
Correct. That's what we're seeing now. We have 28 states with a robust medical marijuana program. We've got 42, 43 that have CBD oil for like Charlotte's Web, and 8 states that treat it just like beer. So, and this is putting pressure on Congress to just say, let it go. Let the national prohibition go. However, inside the Beltway, the 25,000 lobbyists in Congress are out there, and specifically the over 600 who want to keep marijuana illegal fight me every day, and they can give Congress, and they do. They give congressmen and senators tens and tens of thousands of dollars each in the form of money to be reelected. And there's no reform doesn't. No matter how much money reform would find from donors, we can never compete with the drug companies because they have more money than God. So this has to be the vote and the efforts and the hard work of the people to get out there and pass these ballot initiatives and pass the bills inside the legislatures, like in Columbus, Ohio last year with medical marijuana. That was a lot of hard work by folks in Ohio to get their legislators, their politicians, to say, hey, the issue of marijuana as medicine should be between the doctor and the patient.
Yes, absolutely. And with that said, we're going to take a break and listen to a song about how fantastic medical cannabis is. And then when we come back, we're going to pick up where we left off here at Time for Hemp.
Shiny man, what's that you smoke?
Some wicked high grade or some gourmet up and impress. You want to lick? See the chalice happy burn. Big and happy burn. Turn. Keep the ganja pipe burning. The good sense to me, your man yearning. I ganja man, they put you stiff in the air. And I wear it like you just don't care. When me sing again, keep the ganja pipe burning. The good sense to me, your man yearning. I ganja man, they put you stiff in the air. And I wear it like you just don't care. Turn. Weekday, yes, me have to crap it. Say it's a bad habit, but it make me fly like a rocket. Too much of anything will make you an addict. Yes, me feel stressed when me know have it. Come on, girl, I look good like Playboy Bunny Rapid. She a smelling 250 back me having on me pocket. 2 slip chicken want me plug in her socket. Under me Guinness and me weak me a walk it yo. Keep the ganja pipe burning. For good sense to me, your man yearning. A ganja man, they put you stiff in the air. And I wear it like you just don't care. Shiny man a sing. Keep the ganja pipe burning. For good sense to me, your man yearning. A ganja man, they put you stiff in the air. And I wear it like you just don't care. Road boy from overseas, we no care, we no matter. This we get flatter, man, a real tapper. Big Mac, double whopper, original showstopper. No say man, no rapper, but can't say man, no chatter. Light up, we big it, make it fun, down proper. On the time we real root boy used to real chopper. This the king blow, your head pan a platter. Smoke a split and relax, man, you too lapa. Keep the ganja pipe burning. For good sense to me, your man yearning. A ganja man, they put you stiff in the air. And I wear it like you just don't care. Who don't feel listen to me? Keep the ganja pipe burning. For good sense to me, your man yearning. A ganja man, they put you stiff in the air. And I wear it like you just don't care. Blaze up the fire, keep it burning. 24/7, 365, we keep it alive. Blaze up the fire, keep it burning. 24/7, 365, we keep it alive. When me light up me chalice, say me don't fear no malice. I'm a trouble and gone. When me light up me bang in a Buckingham Palace. Good for every Tom, Dick and Harris. Good for every Michelle and Alice. From London to New York to Paris. Ganja make you feel good and spin like Ferraris. Room. Ballet the Master Paris. China man a real ganja man. Me now go parry no cigarettes. No. Keep the ganja pipe burning. For good sense to me, your man yearning. A ganja man, they put you stiff in the air. And I wear it like you just don't care. Chinese man a sing. Keep the ganja pipe burning. For good sense to me, your man yearning. A ganja man, they put you stiff in the air. And I wear it like you just don't care. Blaze up the fire, keep it burning. 24/7, 365, we keep it alive. Blaze up the fire, keep it burning. 24/7, 365, we keep it alive. Keep the ganja pipe burning. For good sense to me, your man yearning. A ganja man, they put you slip in the air. And I wear it like you just don't care. When me sing again, keep the ganja pipe burning. For good sense to me, your man yearning. A ganja man, they put you slip in the air. And I wear it like you just don't care.
Thank you for taking time for Hemp. I am your host, Casper Leitch. You are listening to us all around the world on Tumblr, SoundCloud, iTunes, iHeartRadio. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, live streaming. Go to our website, time-4, the digit 4, the number 4, hemp.com, and you can find free cartoons to download and all of our MP3s, lots of free music you can find there. And we got a blog there, a free monthly newsletter that we put out. And everything's free because we're trying to end this prohibition on this fantastic plant. And we want the information scattered and spread all around the world. Today on the program, Howard Wooldirdge and I are having a chit-chat about the need to end prohibition and the possibilities of what might transpire in this new administration. And I can tell you, is hemp making a difference there? And I got thinking about that, and there's time for hemp, which is frustrating because you never hear time for cannabis, you never hear time for marijuana. And I remembered I was going to have Ed Rosenthal as a guest once, and Ed didn't want to be on a program called Hemp because he was part of the medical marijuana movement. And Bronner's Soap will not advertise on our network. They won't, because we have marijuana leaves on our website, and we say the word marijuana frequently in our programming, and they only want to be known as hemp. Well, you can call it hemp, you can call it cannabis, you can call it marijuana, but until you call it legal, your pissing contest is pointless. Right, Howard?
Spot on, Casper. Exactly so. And thank you for saying all that. And it leads up to what, I've been doing this 20 years. And I've had folks online, emails, Facebook, just in person, become really annoyed, angry at me because I use the word marijuana versus hemp or versus especially cannabis. And going back to the racist origins of the prohibition in America, back to 1914. And I just want to say that it's been my experience that a lot of people, both young and old, don't know what the word cannabis means. Everybody, they've done tests on this. Essentially, 100% of the people know what marijuana is. But a poll showed in 2010, not too long ago, that 30% of the voters in California did not know what the word cannabis meant, what it was. They had no idea it was another word for marijuana or another word for hemp. So when you want to be clear in your communication, that is why I use the word marijuana all the time, because I try all the time to be clear and concise, correct, and understandable. If you don't know what I'm saying, I failed.
Well, let's see. I do. But isn't it true, though, that in Washington there are hemp bills? Isn't there something to do with the hemp industry where Kentucky's trying to, with the help of other states that are growing hemp, get the hemp industry to also become a flourishing industry?
Well, yeah, let me address that. And if you haven't had him on before, you need Ben Draws on your program. He's the chief lobbyist for Hemp Now. And in fact, they just had a briefing last week for the Congress. Very well attended. The former agricultural commissioner of Kentucky, a guy named Comer, is now a congressman. He was there promoting hemp products. They had all kinds of stuff, including, by the way, interior car door panels used by Mercedes and BMWs in Germany to build their cars.
Cool.
Those panels that go over your door,
right?
Those are made of a hemp composite. For example, showing the potential to really bust loose on the industrial hemp products in America, because we produce about 14 million cars, and they all need about 10 interior panels, 10, 20. So this is a huge potential market. If Mercedes is doing it, it must be because it's pretty good. So, and there's a bill in Congress to break out from what was passed 3 years ago to allow universities to plant 5, 10, 15, 20 acres, to now allow all states to end the federal prohibition, if you will, of the industrial hemp plant. And guys like Ben Draws work very hard to make that happen.
Oh, that's exciting. That's really nice to hear. Now that'll be a lot of jobs created in the United States.
You bet. I mean, this could employ thousands and thousands of farmers with a good cash crop, and your audience knows all the benefits of industrial hemp in terms of the soil, and you don't need much in terms of pesticides, herbicides. It's still a weed that can grow almost anywhere with very little care. So this is what is going on. More cheerful news from Congress in terms of the industrial hemp side of this equation.
Now, are they able to marry the two words cannabis and hemp in Congress? Have they figured it out?
Well, let me just say, you know me, Casper, full disclosure, Ben Draws and I are colleagues and buddies, we will have lunch together, okay, in the cafeteria there in the Senate or whatever.
All right.
But he and I never, ever, ever make house calls together. We never go to an office together. The industrial hemp people want to stay away from the whole legalize, regulate marijuana crowd.
No way.
Where I am.
No way.
For real.
Oh, jeepers. How much more effective could the two of you be together? Oh.
Well, you have to look at it in terms of strategy, and that is the folks from the hemp industry believe that if everybody starts thinking that they want to legalize recreational marijuana, like Willie Nelson uses, it would hurt their ability to pass straightforward industrial hemp. And I think it's probably a sound policy because they are, in a sense, they're two totally separate issues.
I know, but I think it's a ruse because everybody's very clear in their head that if you're a member of the hemp industry and you're trying to legalize hemp, there's an 8 out of 10 chance that you smoked the plant.
Well, and I'm
so
not
why
a genius.
pretend?
I mean, I understand that's their policy, and if you think it's a bad one, you can take it up with Ben and his boss.
I think it's
hemp now. That is what they've been doing now for years, and they got their bill passed. So, and the president signed that bill 3 years ago to allow the universities to grow hemp for the first time in 75, 80 years.
Right.
So that's the proof of success is the measure, and Ben Draws and Hemp Now were successful in putting a bill on the president's desk, which he signed.
All right.
So that in my world here in Washington, in the sandbox I play in, that's the gold standard. You got the bill signed by the president. You're my hero.
There you go. Well, okay, yeah, I give you that, but still, it's sad that you can't play the same team at the same time, man. Because you guys, the effectiveness of all the information that would be laid upon somebody's desk at that point would just be anyway. But so you understand what I'm talking about even trying to get sponsors here on the network and so. Well, I don't know. You talk about marijuana. Well, yeah. Have you seen the plant? They look a lot alike. Hello. Yeah. I couldn't tell them apart. Yeah, I do this for a living. But yeah, I guess I kind of could, but it's you're getting into finer details that in the like they say in the sandbox I play in, it's all about they understand medical. The folks in Congress, they understand the idea of God's green medicine that you use to take care of pain or nausea or glaucoma or Crohn's disease or whatever, right.
Nausea. People understand that now in 2017,
right.
And people understand now the idea of Willie Nelson likes to get high with his friends and laugh and giggle and order Domino's pizza delivered.
Right.
They understand that part, and now they understand industrial hemp. Whether you want to make hempcrete for your house, whether you want to make a shirt, you want to have some good seeds that are full of vitamins and minerals that are good for the omegas. They understand that part. So we got the Congress educated, Casper.
Okay.
And that's three-quarters of the battle.
Yep.
We've got all three sections out there. They're understood by the Congress and their aides. And so that's why we're, again, making progress, because people understand the difference between industrial hemp, medical use, and recreational use.
And then you got organizations like LEAP that make them aware of the cost-effectiveness of ending it and the amount of money saved for taxpayers and the importance of chasing after real crime, not a plan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let me say that my partners in crime, MPP, Marijuana Policy Project, with Don Murphy and Bob, of course, NCIA, National Cannabis Industry Association, Michael Correa, and his crew. And then now is a new player came in a while back, Justin, I get his name right, Steckel. He's a new comm director for NORML, and he is in the process of working part-time on the Hill, and he will be working more on the Hill, making the door-to-door sales calls like I do, like Don does, Michael does, in the coming months as he gets settled into his position. So we're having a little more folks, a little more horsepower on the Hill to spread this message loud and wide of the need to end the federal prohibition.
Well, that's fantastic. That is fantastic.
It is.
That's fantastic.
NORML has not been engaged in the 10 years I've been here. Justin is the first guy to start making door-to-door house calls in the United States Congress, and we are thrilled to have him on board with his organization. And Justin's an effective speaker, so he fits right in with the rest of us to make these house calls and bring the solid arguments to the congressman as to why they need to apply the 10th Amendment.
Is it hard to get a congressman cornered for a conversation?
Short answer is yes, in terms of like a formal meeting. But Don Murphy is showing us all how to meet the congressman when he leaves a committee hearing, for example, and he's walking back to his office. They'll let you walk with them those 2 minutes back to their office.
Right.
And you make your pitch in 2 minutes, a minute, sometimes 45 seconds. And Don Murphy is showing us how to do that. It's a thrill to work around Don because he's just got a natural, and he's a natural, like a baseball player or whatever else, or he's just any other incredible athlete. He's a natural for doing what he's doing. He's the Michael Jordan, if you will, of just knowing what to do by instinct and doing it well.
Wow. Lucky to have him on our team.
Oh, yeah.
That's fantastic.
Very lucky. And for your audience, I know there's all kinds of stripes out there, libertarians, liberals, whatever. MPP, Rob Campia, was brilliant, may I say, 2 years ago when he hired Don Murphy, because Don is a Republican, always has been, and he only goes and talks to Republicans because he speaks their language. And seriously.
I said I laugh because I know Republicans have their own language.
Well, yes, they do. And so do Democrats. And I can do both fairly well, may I say. As a libertarian, I know a little bit of liberal stuff, and I know a little bit of conservative stuff. But Don is 100% Republican, and he speaks to them perfectly. He's very fluent in Republican, and that's why we're making a difference on the Hill.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Well, we are down to the last minute or so. This gives you a chance to give a shout-out to your fantastic organization. Any literature that you'd like to have people get a copy of and send off to their representatives, etc.?
Well, I just want to say that, LEAP Law Enforcement Action Partnership is leap.cc, Charlie. Lots of good stuff there. And if you want more specific stuff on marijuana and heroin, as a matter of fact, go to citizensopposingprohibition.org. Citizensopposingprohibition.org. Click on resources. If you want to talk about the heroin problem within your district, or if you want stuff on marijuana that I use in the United States Congress, it's all in there for you to use, and be happy to help with any follow-up questions. My email's on the website, and be happy to help any way I can.
Fantastic. And I would encourage people to also share that information with your friends. And we're going to wrap it up here. And remember, the next time you hear me, you'll know that it's time for hemp.
Look at all that money, the money that they spend. Take another look and spend some time for hemp. Don't cut trees for paper, cause it hurts the environment. Stop deforestation, yes, it's time for hemp. Whoa, an acre of hemp makes 20 bales of oil. No need for pesticides to poison all our soil.
my sweet hydro, my sweet hydro. Why did you go? Now I'm all alone, my sweet hydro. Oh, I still love you, dear, but now you've gone away. How I wished I had you here, smell your sweet bouquet. Well, some men fall for women, and some men, they like wine. But I'm only half the man, unless I'm getting high, my sweet hydro, my sweet hydro. If I only had a bowl, I wouldn't be so alone, my sweet hydro. Now you're soft and mellow toe. The scent is so divine, and I just want you to know that I'd smoke you all the time, my sweet hydro, my sweet hydro. If I only had a bowl, I wouldn't be so alone, my sweet hydro.
And information. See what all the buzz is all about. It's time for hemp. It's time for hemp.